Hi, Jessica.
Hi. Jesus. I'm a fucking mess.
No, Pasha.
I am. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
It's all good.
We're so happy to meet you. Thank you so much for doing the show.
I'm so happy to meet you too. I can't, my ring light's not working.
It's funny. We literally were just like, I wish we both had ring lights today.
Yeah, we need them.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It's so funny because we just did this long festival and it was like 7 hours a day of interviews and it was like really fatiguing on us. And I swear to God, the saving grace was between interviews, we would watch Disgusting Hawk. And I'm not just saying that. It's crazy because we had Dan Soder on and I was trying to show her Dan Soder and I typed him in YouTube and then the Disgusting Hawk lollipop clip came up of him and we were like, what the fuck is this? And then we marathoned it. Yeah. And we were watching them twice. And we were we're in a recording studio. We were walking around showing people. Like, it really did save our lives. So thank you so much for coming on.
I'm so glad. I mean, listen, I think you have to be either severely mentally ill or on major drugs to get into Disgusting Hawk. But I just feel like it's so good for now because it's like mindless, Yeah. It's great.
It's so funny and your stand-up is so funny and we're just big fans. So we're really like stoked to have you here. We've been talking about this for weeks.
Glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
And congratulations on Hysterical coming out, which is now on FX.
Yes, it's actually, it went to Hulu, which is great because it's on demand. So
that's so great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. We're in Canada. So it's like, it's weird. You have you have to get like VPN streamers and stuff like that. Like even like we wanted to watch
What is that? It's so stupid.
Right?
It was the same with the Therese O'Neill documentary that just came out. It's not on any Canadian streaming services for some reason.
Yeah, I keep getting messages from people in Canada like, how can I watch Hysterical? I'm like, it's on FX and Hulu. How could you not have it in Canada? It's so crazy.
It's weird. Right? Our version of Hulu is called Crave, but they can't get the licensing for everything. It's like that with movies too. Like if you've ever wondered why a movie isn't on Netflix, it's because they couldn't get licensing for all the music typically. Mm-hmm. So right. I wonder if that's something to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate that though, because I'm always in Canada. I do so many shows there and I'm so connected out of any country. I'm so connected to Canada and I have Canadian fans. And it seems like that would be the first place that would have FX and Hulu and have access to it. So I don't know.
Yeah, right? That's frustrating, but it's so cool. Like what a great documentary you put together and it must have been a lot of work. So congratulations on releasing it.
Thank you. I mean, I think you guys will love it. Like anyone who's in this business is flipping out over it because it's really amazing. It's not a typical documentary. I mean, so many comics have sent me messages and said, I just love the tone of it. It's different. It's even male comics are like, I watched it and cried. Like it's deep. It's very funny, but it's also deep. It just shows like the struggles of being a comedian and especially a female comic and why we get into it, that we're damaged and literally like people are like, why did you stay in it? After the things that they see and the things we talk about. And it's just, it is, I'm very proud of it. I really am.
That's so excellent. We had on, Nikki Glazer on the show and she's in that. She's so funny, but it was funny because I had all these questions prepared and then all we did was talk about therapy the whole time. And it was actually like my favorite.
She and I talk about.
Oh, really? And it's funny. Same. We also had Neil Brennan on and all we did was talk to him about was therapy too. Yeah. It was funny because I was telling Nikki like because I'm in therapy too. Mm-hmm. I was explaining to my therapist something from my childhood and I looked up and he looked devastated and I was like, oh no, I'm sorry. And then now I feel bad and I'm like, wait a second, this is what you're here for. So my real people in my life don't have to deal with this. And your wife and mom are both therapists, right?
Yeah. I mean, my mom is like an old school therapist. So I have been in therapy since I'm 8. And I'm 51. So that is mostly all my life. I mean, I've taken like 6 months, never even a year off.
Like literally you've been in therapy, not meaning that your mom is a therapist. So you've figured
my mom has also done therapy on me my whole life. And I'm not saying that to be funny. Like people think, and it is funny. I mean, now I can laugh at it, but it's driven me crazy my whole life because she's very old school. Like, she's very into like energy work. Like she's a Reiki master. So she'll just do energy work with me and not even ask me. Like she'll just get quiet. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm just doing some energy work. I'm like, you have to ask me. You're psychologically molesting me. That's what you're doing. You're molesting me with therapy. And the new thing is tapping. That's been for years. Like tap under your eyes, tap on this, and you speak when you tap, which actually it works. It's very good to do the tapping. You can go on YouTube and Google it. It does help a lot with energy work. But I've been to like every kind of therapist. I've done every technique. And my wife is more of a get over it kind of. She works with a lot of teens and young adults with addiction and behavioral problems. So she's very much like buck up, get over it, kind of, that kind of a therapist. So they're very different in the way they do things.
Reiki's the one where you hover your hands above somebody. So your mom's doing this and you're like, wait a second, my aura feels like it's healing. Wait a second, get away from me.
She actually did therapy. She did Reiki with me in a Whole Foods bathroom. I'm not kidding. She noticed how anxious I was, and I was like suffering with anxiety. And she's like, "Just come in the bath." I'm like, "I'm not going into a bathroom." So of course she talked me into it. And there I am standing in a stall, and she's like crouching down, like going over my feet, doing energy. And I hear people fluffing. I'm flushing, and I'm like, "What am I doing? What am I doing?" But it's like it was like the one way where I connected with her. Like that's how I connected with her my whole life, was through this therapy stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
At least she cares. It actually sounds nice.
It does. Yeah. I was going to ask if it was like kind of a trigger point to have someone like, but I guess, because your wife and your mom are like very different as well. It's
it doesn't remind you of one another, I suppose.
Well, they're both kind of to the extreme, and it's not great. I mean, my mom is always trying to fix me. I mean, it's nice, but it's always like, I'm okay. Like sometimes I don't need to be fixed. I just need to be heard.
Yeah.
And my wife sometimes is too hard. Like, she needs to be a little more like, let's talk about it. Let's process it, because she's so used to, again, working with teens, and she ran a program for 13 years with addicts, and I get it. Teens they try to milk it and do all this other stuff. So
the kind of like tough love strategy with like teens who are at risk, I guess that is the right method to go about helping them?
Yes. I mean, you want to be caring. But this was also years ago, so it was more like that years ago. Now they're so careful about the way, every word they say to teens, and they don't want to get in trouble. But years ago, it was more, it was pretty, they were rough on them. It was a live-in facility, so they were really tough on them, like how they got up in the morning, made your bed, that everything had to be perfectly put away, and you had to show up on time, and they would try to manipulate a lot, the teenagers, and
Oh wow.
So they were pretty tough on them.
When you and Nikki Glazer talk about therapy, has she ever told you about her super abusive therapist she told us about?
Yes.
Holy what? She's like, well, I kind of think it was good because now I know. And I was like, no, Nikki, that was like so abusive. Like her therapist is like, why are you a comedian? You're not funny. It's like,
I know that kind of shit makes me crazy.
Yeah.
What? Right? When she told me that stuff, I wanted to kill. It's like, I was so disturbed. When people tell me those stories, it makes me crazy, because I do know what a therapist should be like.
Yeah.
And also, like, you have to go therapy shopping. You don't just go to, this is what people do. They go to one therapist and they're like, oh, this is the person I have to see.
Yeah.
That's so not the case. I mean, you really should, if it doesn't feel right in your gut, you really should go see someone else and compare and see if it works out better. And it is dangerous. because it screws with your emotions. And if you see someone for a while and they're kind of gearing you the wrong way, do you hear a baby crying?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hold on 1 second, okay?
So fine. No problem.
Give me one.
You got it.
So funny. Did you hear her the whole time or just recently?
Just recently. A little bit, but it sounded like could have been a screaming baby in a building next to you or something.
Yeah. That's hilarious. It's one of my twins. I have like 74 kids.
Congratulations.
I mean, now I'm afraid the nanny's going to like hit her or something. I'm so fucked up. I can't even.
Oh no.
I'm joking. Not hit her. Like, I'm so afraid of damaging my kids. Like, like a tap on the hand or like a little pat on the high knee. I'm like, is she going to be a drug addict? You know what I mean?
It's funny. I've always like, same thing. Like I grew up so damaged. I was like, I would never want to like download this onto some other human being.
I know. It's scary when you have kids because I really try to do the opposite a lot of what my parents did. And, but I was talking to someone about this yesterday, at a certain point, like you have to not go too overboard with that because you have to reprimand, like you have to be a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter fell yesterday and she scraped her knee. She's 5.5, one of my daughters. And like, she was hysterically crying and I had to like let her go into school crying. And I had like, comfort her and hugged her, but like, it was time. She was okay. And it was time for her to go to school. But like I was having in my head, I'm like, Jessica, calm down. Like this is more about your own shit.
Yeah.
Like she's really okay.
Oh man. I remember one time my mom was driving me through the border because I have grandparents in Washington and I got a nosebleed right before the border. My mom was like, oh, great. This is great. Great. Now look at me. Now look what I look like.
Hysterical.
Being a mom is tough. It's just so crazy, especially like I had a single mom and so she's trying to like raise this, crazy boy and I had no male figure and then she's doing the best she can. She was like, it's funny. She was working in a bar on the weekends that was in the movie Roadhouse.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, it is. When you have kids, you realize what your parents went through. I mean, it doesn't make the abuse go away or all the shit you went through, but it does explain things a little more of what they had to deal with, especially like my mom met my dad when she was 17. She was a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And she had kids so young. She didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah. Same with my mom.
Yeah.
It's so crazy the decisions you make back then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I love how typical it was too, because my mom was a waitress there and my biological dad was the bouncer there.
Oh, that's great.
And
that's
guess what? Guess what they had? An artist.
Shocking.
You guys fucked up. Now look.
Yeah, no, I definitely like really feel for my parents as well. Like when I was like 6 or 7, I like fell off a boat like into a river.
Alexi was raised on a boat.
Until I was 7 years old.
Really?
Yeah, probably shortly after I fell into the river. They're like, we're
starting to think this is dangerous.
And like just thinking back too, because like I've babysat for kids and whatnot, and like just having to like be responsible for this like little human. And thinking about how I fell into a river and like went under the water, and my parents, like what they must have been thinking when I fell in, like that is nightmare fuel.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's very scary. It's, not to bring this down, but this is real and this is the truth. And, I'm a comic and I can make every interview funny. And I do. Like, I love making interviews funny, but one of my biggest fears about having kids was having something happen to them, right? Or having one of them be sick. I have 4 daughters and my 5.5-year-old was born. We knew that she had severe heart disease when we had a sonogram. And so we knew she was going to have to be born and immediately have open heart surgery.
Oh my goodness.
So this was my biggest fear.
Yeah.
It was like, I never thought I was going to have kids because I was like, I can't handle it. Like, I know I can't handle getting so close to a human being. I already have major intimacy issues and getting that close to something and then something happening. So Fast forward, she's had 4 open heart surgeries, a stent, a balloon. It's like you realize how much it is to have, this responsibility. Like this is you're responsible. Like I'm fucked up. I mean, I'm okay, but like I have had a hard time taking care of myself my whole life.
Yeah.
And now I'm responsible for 4 human beings.
Yeah.
And I had to get my shit together. Like you just have to, or else you don't. And then someone else will just take care of your kids. So,
man.
And it's taught me a lot. And she's okay, but she's going to need a lot more operations. And it just, it makes you very unselfish in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I can say that when you're a parent.
Yeah, I guess you have no choice at a certain point, and you just have to become selfless. It's so true. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. Are your 4 children all like pretty close in age also?
No, so I have a deal with NBC Peacock about my situation. I don't know if it'll become a show. I hope so, and That's think great. So. But Bonnie McFarlane and I pitched an idea because I have 4 daughters and I have 2 baby mamas. I'm like a rapper. It's fucking hilarious. I have these 2 hot women that I like fucking got pregnant. I have a 14-year-old with my ex who lives 20 minutes from me. And then I have 3 young ones with my current wife.
Wow.
And I deal with the whole thing like a guy in the suburbs with my ex. It's amazing.
That's so funny.
It's great. It's
Maybe
great.
Disgusting Hawk is your rap moniker.
Yeah, totally.
Sounds like a member of Wu-Tang.
Yeah, I know. It's so awesome. So like the show is about how I manage all of it with the 2 women, with the, guy come from this Jewish liberal, family in Jersey. I married into this, Trump loving, cops and firemen, Catholic family in Queens, New York. It's a really funny show.
Yeah.
And we're going to film a pilot.
That's great.
Yeah, it's hysterical. I'm living the life of a man in suburbia. It's great.
That's so good.
I would watch that for sure.
You're killing it, Jessica.
And my 14-year-old is an incredibly trained actress who has an agent, and she's stunning, and she's going to play my daughter in the show. So it's really cool. Yeah,
that never happens.
Never. I don't know if that's ever happened.
In Pursuit of Happiness, Jaden Smith played,
right. Yes.
And that's the only time I think that's ever happened. It was funny, like when Straight Outta Compton.
Smith or something. Maybe. I mean, Tom Hanks' son. Did he ever play his son or?
It's funny. All I can think of is his rapper son right now, Chet Hayes.
Oh God,
the white boy summer guy.
I like
what a nightmare.
When they started like comparing, they're like names really do mean something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Colin Hanks is his other son, who seems to be a carbon copy of Tom Hanks, just younger.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I feel like that must have happened. It's funny when they made Straight Outta Compton, the movie about NWA, Ice Cube's son had to audition to play a young Ice Cube.
Incredible.
And they're like, well, he does look exactly like him. Let's just give it to him.
Yeah, right.
That's so crazy. I mean, this business is insane.
I know. Right? I can't wait for your show. That sounds so good.
It's really funny. I mean, if it doesn't, I'd be surprised if it doesn't get picked up, but you never know in this business, and it's okay. But it's a funny concept because it shows a typical gay family in suburbia that we're just like everyone else, and deal with the women having issues with each other, the 2 women, and me always trying to like in between, in the middle, trying to make everyone happy.
Oh, man.
And with all the kids, and it's hysterical. I mean,
I love that.
Yeah, we get the dumbest questions. I talk about it in my act, but someone asked recently if our kids were planned.
Oh my God.
Isn't that fucking amazing?
You're like, I don't know. We were just being so irresponsible around that time.
I say I wasn't wearing a condom on my strap on.
Yeah.
We're pro-life, so I had to keep the kids.
That's great. Do you find that during like, quarantine and everything, do you find that people that you know are more extreme versions of themselves? Like,
yes.
I thank you. Like, I've been noticing that on social media. It's like somebody who's like kind of dipping into like Trump territory is now absolutely diehard for that side of things politically. Like, how do you navigate it? Do you just kind of not address it, or are you confrontational with people in your life you care about that are? Yeah,
no,
not either.
I don't at all. I don't. You know what? I don't have the end. We all have to focus on ourselves, and we have enough to deal with. I don't have time or energy to fight with people on their beliefs, but listen, I agree with you 100%. Everything has shown people's real colors, and it's good because I get to see who people really are, and I can weed people out of my life, which I have. Yeah. Unfortunately, even some family members.
Oh yeah.
Because I will not have certain people in my life, and I will always love them. I'll always be there for them, and I will be cordial. Mm-hmm. But some people's beliefs and some people from what they have said, and publicly, it's not from what I'm even imagining. Yeah. I can't have people like that in my life, and because I know where they stand, and I'm not going to co-sign it. Yeah. And it's okay.
Yeah.
But exactly. I've always known. There's some people, it's like you always knew where they stood, and then there's some people where you're shocked. You're like, holy shit, they've really gone pretty, they've gone pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, totally.
A lot of comics, believe it or not. There's a lot of straight white men. Mm-hmm. And I don't say this a lot. Listen, so many of my friends, my closest friends, my brothers are straight white men. Yeah. Comics. I love them. I get along with them better than I do the women a lot of the time. Mm. But there's a handful who have gone nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Because they feel like they're being silenced and they're being this and they're being that. I have a comic friend who told me the other day, I go on stage now in New York and I feel like the crowd's totally against me and they think I'm the bad guy. And I have to, in the first 5 minutes, get them to like me. I'm like, hello.
Yeah.
That's
what I've been dealing with for 22 years as a female comic, you fucking asshole.
Right?
Every time I go on stage, most of the crowd is thinking I'm not funny.
Well,
okay?
it's like in the trailer for Hysterical, how one of the comics was like, I was treated like a gimmick. Like, it's like, okay, let's have a girl up here, see how that goes. It's
that's Rachel, I think, said. Maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's so insane. That's so, I can't even imagine how you handle that, because it's so obviously what you've been dealing with, and for them to say that is so wild.
And it's easy. I mean, I've taught comedy for so many years. In 30 seconds, just win them over. Just say something, address it. It's not hard. And you also can be likable in 30 seconds, and then they'll be with you.
And saying like, I only have 5 minutes to win them over. 5 minutes is a long time.
It is.
You should have said a couple funny things by then.
Yeah. Right.
But with women, not with everyone, but with a lot of people, you have to. I just was in Oklahoma. I just did 5 shows in Oklahoma. You better believe I had to go on stage and really knock it out of the park within the first minute for them to be on my side and be with me for the next hour.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these men who live they didn't know who I was, and they are thinking women aren't funny, and their girlfriends and wives drag them there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait, you just went somewhere far away to do shows, right?
I did. I went to Puerto Rico for the night to do a Passover show.
Oh, wow.
Wow. What was that?
I do all kinds of shit. I went from Passover shows in Puerto Rico and Florida performing for Orthodox Jews where I couldn't say a curse word. I didn't even come out. I was clean as a whistle to like Oklahoma, where I was like, fuck my ass. Like, it's just amazing. But learning how to do that as a comic has opened me up to so much work.
Yeah, I bet.
I can perform for anyone. And it took me years to be able to do that. But I'm so grateful I did, because I can do any kind of show.
Wow.
And make money.
That's great.
Yeah.
Was it stressful for you? Was that the first time you traveled during the pandemic?
No, I had done some. I had done, it was stressful though, because going to Puerto Rico was a little stressful. Mm-hmm. And going to Florida was stressful because they're just like, no one is wearing a mask anywhere. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, wow.
That was stressful. It's always less stressful to go to a place where they're more careful.
I got COVID in Arizona in December. Yeah. My girlfriend's family lives there. And ironically, we were going to visit her mom, who's like pretty under the weather. And then before we even got to see her, we both got COVID. Yeah. No one there cares or is taking it seriously. They're having like house parties and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. Here, I mean, it's militant, which, but now I'm vaccinated for a couple of months. So I feel
that's great.
Better going on the road now. This weekend I'm going to Rochester, New York, and I'm okay with it because they're pretty, they're careful here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Oklahoma, packed in the room, no masks, no anything. I mean,
Wow. It seems like most New York comics have gotten it and are healed from it now. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, Jessica, one more question, if you don't mind. Do
you imagine?
Fuck you.
I have to say something on this show so that people hear it. I have had to reschedule, change the timing. I have been all over the place because I, again, have 78 kids and I have been doing so much press for the movie. And you have been so amazing. You guys have been so accommodating. And I can tell that you're just such good, loving, amazing people. I can't wait to meet you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And hang out.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you so much for doing it. Anytime you're in Vancouver, we would love to have you.
Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely.
By the way, you've played, you said you do Canada a lot.
Love
Is Vancouver.
Love it. Have done Yuck Yucks. I've done an off-Broadway show there. I love Vancouver.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
We've been really excited to have you on. So thanks for making the time. I was curious what kind of day jobs you had before doing stand-up. And if you had any awful stories from them.
Oh, sure. I mean, in high school, I worked at a department store called Lord & Taylor where I had to fold clothes. I would be so high every day, just and have old Jewish women all they did was ask me where things were. Like, do you know where the hosiery department is? Like, just, where's the bathroom? Excuse me. Like, just in my face. Yes. And then I worked at Starbucks, which I liked, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
I liked working in Starbucks. That's a cool job.
I heard it's great there.
Yeah. I worked in a printing shop. I mean, I was lost for a very long time. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I counseled people. I went for a master's in social work.
Wow.
Wow.
And then I became a comic, which I say is the same thing, except I don't have to listen. I talk. I bartended for years, and that would be hell sometimes in New York. I bartended in Times Square, and tourists wouldn't tip, and they were rude a lot of the time, and that was a rough gig for years.
I heard some comics from New York talking about how they worked in bars, and when celebrities would come through and tip badly, everyone would talk about it.
Everyone. I've heard more stories about, and then you hear about the ones who tip hundreds of dollars. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you like their movies more after that.
Right. Who does that? How could you be a celebrity and not tip well? Like, what a joke.
Yeah.
That's so strange.
Yeah, I know, because that people are going to be definitely telling everyone they know about it.
Oh, yeah. You're like almost bound to like tip really, really good every single time. What a trap.
You have to have no conscience, right?
Yeah.
You have to have absolutely no awareness to not tip well as a celebrity.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's funny. You were talking about your first job, about all the Jewish ladies coming up to you at Lord and Taylor, and you were super high. Because my first job was at a Jewish country club, and I was always high as well. same experience.
Glorious.
It's got to get through the day somehow.
It's like, I know this. I've lived
God
this.
help you. I'm doing a Jewish country club next Saturday. I do all of them. I make fun of them the whole time. I mean, I just had lunch with my mother at a Jewish country club, and she literally looked at me and she's like, I don't like this chicken salad. I'm like, it didn't even come yet. It's in the fucking kitchen.
Oh my God.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jessica.
No,
Really
thank
appreciate you coming on. I want everyone to watch Hysterical.
Yeah.
And can't wait to meet you. And
Me
thanks
too.
for coming on.
We'll hang out.
I would
And when
love
you
that.
watch it, send me a message. I want to hear what you guys think. But
Okay,
you'll
well, I
love it.
promise.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.